Welcome to the PHNX Coyotes podcast, brought to you by the one and only DraftKings Sportsbook app, America's top-rated sportsbook app. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and leave us a 5-star review. I'm Leah Merrill here at the PHNX studio, back for the first time in 2 weeks. Craig is somewhere that we don't know, and Petey, who we didn't know was even going to be here, is calling from a parking lot in Tampa Bay. How's everyone doing?
Petey on vacation again.
Yeah, he is.
Yep.
Jesus Christ.
Oh.
Yep. Well, I've said him so much that he left the show.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was so
sorry.
Sure.
I need a better tripod or something. There we go. I think I got it solved now. It's hot and humid here in Tampa. It's probably hot in Arizona too, so I shouldn't complain. But
the humidity is horrible.
Oh God, yeah, it's horrible. I don't know how they do that. Like the players have to go city to city like this, different climates, different time zones, different altitudes. And you look how tired Tampa looked in the last game. I don't know how they're going to rebound here in game 3.
Man, I don't think any of us were expecting game 2 to go how it did. At least I certainly didn't. Let's just talk about game 2 now, since you're here, Petey, and I don't know how much time we have you for. Obviously, you watched that game closely. What were your takeaways from game 2?
At first I go, gosh, this Colorado team is just dominating. Colorado's faster and Colorado's better. But as I looked at it, I watched the game again last night and this morning. It's a lot about Tampa Bay's mistakes. Colorado was good, not taking anything away, but boy, was Tampa bad. Their decisions on the puck, they had defensemen pinching when they shouldn't. They didn't have a F3 high in the offensive zone. They turned the puck over more than they usually do. They were really bad. And this is a team that's usually systematically really good. They defend well. They forecheck well. All of the things that are their staples and their trademarks, they didn't do. And Colorado just capitalized on their mistakes. Every time Tampa made a mistake, it ended up in their net. I can't imagine Tampa playing this bad for a second consecutive game. I'm done reading this series. I'm done guessing this series and predicting this series. I can't imagine Tampa will get blown out again. Vasilevsky hasn't given up 7 goals all season. I don't know.
The only other time he gave up 7 was to the Coyotes. Which, by the way, I forgot this until my friend reminded me. I was at that game that Vasilevsky led in 7 to the Coyotes.
You're kidding me. Yeah, it's so uncharacteristic of this team. Everybody here is talking about a sweep now, and can you imagine a sweep?
I would hate that.
Stanley Cup champions? I can't imagine.
I would hate it.
Yeah, I can't imagine it. They're going to have to find a way to contain the top players, Makar, McKinnon. You know what they need to do? Look for them to be less aggressive today. When I watched them play in Florida, when they played the Panthers in that series, to shut down their speed, they just weren't aggressive on the forecheck. They weren't aggressive chasing the puck around the defensive zone. They just sat back and let Florida come at them. I would expect a lot more of that today, where they have one player forechecking instead of 3. You'll see them back off of the blue line a little more, give them Colorado a little more space so they can just let Colorado come into them. I can't imagine they're going to be so aggressive on the puck that they just get burnt all day again. But again, like I said, I don't know shit because I haven't been right at all in this series.
Craig, what are your thoughts? But you're on mute.
After watching everything that Tampa did in the Eastern Conference playoffs, it would be stunning for me to see them get swept in this series. And also, to be honest, a little disappointing when you have a team that did all that it did to get this close, to get to the threshold of a three-peat, and then to get swept. That'd be a real stunner for me. I would be shocked to see Tampa go out that quietly. On the flip side of it, maybe this illustrates just how dominant Colorado has been in this postseason run. And before this game, obviously, I just tweeted this stuff. I reached out to NHL stats to get a sense of where Colorado sits in NHL history with what it's done so far in this playoff run. And it was pretty stunning to see the results. Leah, I don't know if you have that.
Because we do have the graphic.
So let's throw that up there. Since the NHL went to a best-of-7 format for all 4 series in 87-88, the Edmonton Oilers have the best record in the postseason at 16-2. That's the first time it took 16 wins to win the Cup. Well, with a sweep of the Avs, Colorado could match that, meaning they are the most dominant team in this format, or tied for the most dominant team in this format. And you're talking about the Gretzky-led Oilers. That would be quite an accomplishment if they were to accomplish that. There have been some undefeated runs when it was just 2 rounds, but that I just don't equate it. It's apples to oranges. I look at it under the current format and think, wow, Colorado is on one hell of a tear right now.
It's unbelievable. They just look unstoppable when they're like in these games. It's insane. I can't see it personally going to a sweep. I have to remind myself Tampa was down to 0-2 in the Ranger series. We've seen teams win cups that have started being down on the road. Pittsburgh in 2009 comes to mind, where the home team won every game until Game 7. So, there's still a lot that could happen, but they're gonna have to make a lot of adjustments, because right now it's so hard to imagine anybody stopping this juggernaut of a Avalanche team.
And you look at Darcy Kemper too, a guy that I talked about early in the series and said just had to be good, didn't have to be great. I don't even know if he needs to be good. He had 16 shots on goal in the last game, and you look really look at how many of those were either high danger or grade A scoring chances. Honestly, maybe 2, maybe. So he just needs to be average at best for this team to win right now. Tampa has no answer. Tampa has no solution for the speed. They have no way to get the pucks to the inside. They can't even get a shot on goal on their power play right now. I can't imagine that that's going to continue today. I'm sure I've heard rumors that Point may come out of the lineup today, and they may go back to the lineup from the prior game. So maybe we see Riley Nash again. They're going to have to find a way, not just to defend the speed, but they're just going to have to find a way to play mistake-free hockey, because right now they're not.
What do you think is going to happen tonight?
Right?
I could say Tampa in a close one, like a 4-3 game, is what I really suspect. But honestly, Colorado could blow them out again, because if they get one of those early goals, it could be over. So here's the key to tonight. Look for a 0-0 first period. The longer this game goes 0-0, the better it is for Tampa. If this can get through the first 10 minutes, the first 12 minutes, the first 15 minutes at 0-0, favor starts to swing towards Tampa. But they haven't been able to do that through the first period. So I think for this one, I'm going to say tight. I'm going to say Tampa wins on home ice. And if Colorado wins in 3, the series is over. And I'll be home before you know it.
Yep, I agree with that. If they win tonight, I think it's going to be a sweep.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to imagine them. I think Charles said it too in the chat, coming back from being down 0-3. It's just such a hard mental thing to climb out of. So maybe tonight would be the night to bet on puck line if you think it's going to be close, or you can also bet on like no goal in the first 10 minutes. So some things that
I don't know if I bet on that, Leah. That's what I'd like to see, but I don't know if I bet on that right now. There could be 5 goals in the first.
Well, Colorado keeps scoring multiple goals in the first 10 minutes, but you could bet on yes for a goal in the first 10 if you wanted to.
Yeah,
so
that might be the better bet. For Tampa to win, they have to stop Colorado the first 10.
Yeah, and the over has been hitting a lot in this series too. So there's just a lot of things on DraftKings. Is there anything else either of you want to talk about with the series? And Petey, how long do we have you for in the humid parking lot?
I'm waiting for a text to say I have to get back to work. So it could be anytime in the next 5 minutes, but I'm here. I'll stay as long as I can. It's just hot. I'm disappointed with game 2. I rewatched game 1 again, and I saw the overtime and how close it was, and Tampa was able to get some scoring chances. How disappointed as a hockey fan I was in game 2. I just hope for better hockey. Like I have no rooting interest on either team. We know Darcy Kemper. We'd like to see him do well. I just want to see better hockey. I want to see a better series. I think fans deserve, with these 2 juggernauts, I think they deserve a better series. Yeah. And I keep saying it. I can't imagine with a Cooper-coached team that they won't respond here in Tampa Bay while they're at home. I just can't imagine. There's too many leaders in that room. You've got Stamkos and Hedman, and there's too many guys that have been here that I can't imagine they're just going to roll over and let Colorado walk through the series. I just can't imagine it. So I still think Tampa's going to find a way to sneak one out today in a close one.
I'm torn on this. I want to see better hockey. I really looked forward to this matchup because I thought it could be one for the ages. On the flip side, if Colorado sweeps, Petey comes home.
I know. That is the one thing.
I know. I might not seem long for you guys, but this is getting long. And I just booked a flight back to Colorado, so I have a flight back for Colorado in game 5. If Tampa wins tonight, I have to book a game 6 flight back here. Like it's travel, and that's not easy, by the way. That's a long 9 or 10 hour day getting back and forth. And I don't want to do it 3 more times. So,
but they have Nutter Butters in the ESPN truck.
They do. I saw that today that they had Nutter Butters today, so Craig's a little bit jealous, although he could probably go buy some Nutter Butters wherever the hell he is out in the forest.
You haven't read my contract, Petey. I don't buy Nutter Butters.
Yeah,
you'll be bringing those home for me, right?
You. Yeah, they're here for you.
They're provided directly.
Yeah,
oh,
I don't have that kind of a rider in my contract here. And no Mexican food with all the porta potties. That's ESPN rule number 1. No Mexican food with all the porta potties. And I showed you how many more trucks there are. Like last game there were 2. This game there's 7, which means that many more people. They didn't add extra porta potties just for
Oh boy.
Yeah, so, 7 more trucks, no more porta potties. Same.
So early arrival at the porta potty is key.
Yeah, well, when's that? I've been here, we're here for 14 hours? I don't know. We're here for a long time. So, yeah, there's no first in line at the porta potty.
Why do we keep talking about porta potties every week?
I don't know how you
can
help it.
See, it seems to come up.
So
here's the thing, Petey. I just looked up the current conditions in Tampa. 93 degrees, and it says it feels like 100. And the humidity, oh, God. Oh,
what is the humidity here?
Well, it's hovering right around 60% right now.
Oh, Jesus. Buddy, this is gross. This is gross. There are clothes sticking to me that I don't know. I'm going to have to shower every time I go outside. This is like dry heat. Yes. No. This sucks.
Blech.
This
Horrible.
sucks. But, okay, I'm sorry. I'll stop talking about porta potties and humidity.
Yeah, let's rein it in. I just pulled up the line for tonight. It's a even money line, so it's they're both teams are -110, which is really interesting, especially considering Tampa is home, and usually the home team is the favorite, but not today.
Yeah, especially the two-time champ, right?
Yeah, right. We got Cone Cam. Oh, you're out of here.
Time for Petey to go. I just got to check. Time for me to go, guys. Have a good rest of your show. I'll be there for an audio tomorrow, and have a great day back in Arizona, and Craig, wherever the hell you are.
All right.
Good luck, buddy. Drink plenty of fluids.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Drink plenty, but not too much that you have to go to the porta potty every hour.
Exactly. Bye, guys.
Yeah.
Bye. Oh my gosh. It should be a really interesting one tonight. I think this game tonight is going to be a determining factor in how the series moves forward, obviously. But I think Tampa has the chance to get the momentum back in their favor. If they don't, the series could be over sooner rather than later. And if you want to bet on tonight's game at all, you can do so with the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Is what we like to use. You can do player props, period by period. Everything. You can get your bets in for the Conn Smythe winner now if you have a suspicion either way. Or, if you have a feeling of who's going to win the series, you can do that as well. So be sure to download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use the promo code PHNX. New customers can bet $5 on either NHL team to win their game and get $100 in free bets no matter what. That's code PHNX at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the Stanley Cup Final. Must be 21 or over. Arizona only. New customers only. Minimum $5 deposit. Restrictions apply. See show notes for details. Well, I didn't know Petey was going to be here, so I didn't even tell everybody what we were going to talk about today because we just got right into Game 2. But Stanley Cup Final Game 3 is tonight, but tomorrow night is the NHL Awards. So we're going to talk all things NHL Awards, not just
the ones they haven't announced yet.
Yeah, exactly. They've been announced, which I don't hate because then you just get to the really important ones on the actual night. The NHL Awards have evolved over the years and how they've done it. So we're going to talk about who we think will win. But before we get into this year's awards, Craig brought this to my attention. I didn't even really realize this, but the Coyotes' history with the NHL Awards, much like so many other things, I feel like you can point at that the Coyotes just have a history of losing draft lotteries and a history of missing the playoffs and etc. The Coyotes and the NHL Awards, they don't really go hand in hand, do they, Craig?
Well, when it comes to on-ice awards, Leah, the Coyotes just don't win them. That's the simplest way to put it. Everybody knows that Bobby Francis won Jack Adams as Coach of the Year way back when. Some of our fans probably weren't even alive, which depresses me. Were you alive, Leah?
I was alive.
Okay, you were alive.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I was 5.
Okay, great. So you didn't need to add that, but thank you for adding that. Of course, Dave Tippett won Coach of the Year as well in 09-10 when the Coyotes had what is still their best point total in franchise history. They were amazing that year, 107 points. And Don Maloney won General Manager of the Year. So off the ice, they've won a few awards. On the ice,
and Shane Doan won the King Clancy, which is also kind of part of it's off the ice in 2009-10.
Yeah. But then you look at on the ice, and I know Leah compiled awards for the entire history of the franchise.
No, and I don't want to look at the Jets.
I don't want to look at the Winnipeg Jets. It's been too long. It doesn't matter what happened with the Jets anymore. So let's look at the Coyotes' history. They've won the Norris 0 times, Calder 0 times, Vezina Trophy 0 times, Hart Trophy 0 times. Should I just keep going like this? Or should we just talk about their top 10 finishes? Because that's as good as it's gotten. Here, the Vezina is where they perform the best. And we've talked many times about how the Coyotes have been really good at bringing in goaltenders from somewhere else and turning them into elite goalies. Sean Burke finished 6th in Vezina Trophy voting in 2000-2001 and 3rd the following year. Ilya Bryzgalov finished 2nd in 09-10 and 6th in 10-11. Mike Smith finished 4th in 11-12 when the Coyotes had their crazy run to the Western Conference Final. And Darcy Kemper finished 5th in 2018-19 and 7th in 19-20. Thought he should have finished as a finalist in 18-19. Personally, with what he did, but so those are some good finishes. At least as you heard, there were 4 top 5 finishes, and there were 2 guys who were finalists, which is the top 3 for the Vezina Trophy. But then you start looking at the other awards, Leah, and I'll let you take over for some of these. It's not as pretty.
No, it's not. For the Hart voting, which is most valuable player, Tkachuk finished 10th in voting in 96-97. That 96, my birth year. Craig.
First year the Coyotes were in Arizona.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. The Coyotes and I are the same age, for anyone wondering. Sean Burke finished 4th in 01-02 and Bryzgalov 5th in 09-10. Then you look at Calder, Rookie of the Year. I don't even know. Trevor Letowski?
Yeah, Trevor Letowski.
Who is that?
Come on.
99, 2000? I was 3.
Yep. Well, there you go.
Well, he finished 8th in that year for Rookie of the Year. Peter Mueller, 5th in 07-08. Max Domi, 6th in 15-16. Declare 10th in 15-16.
Yep.
So still no finalists in either of those categories.
And then the Norris Trophy.
Yeah, Norris, a few more in voting, but still no finalists. Oleg Tverdovsky, 10th in 96-97. Numanen, 9th in 97-98, and 7th in 01-02. Yandel was the highest finish with 5th in 10-11, OEL 7th in 12-13 and 9th in 15-16, and Chychrun 10th in 2021.
The latter 2 bothered me. Jacob Chychrun deserved to finish higher. I thought he should have been top 5 last season, not the season before this past season. And OEL in 2015-16 finishing 9th is a joke because he had an unbelievable year. He absolutely should have been a finalist. I think you can make an argument that he should have won it. So yeah, that one bothers me, but there aren't. You can't even say that there are that many slights. OEL, Jacob Chychrun, and I do feel like Darcy Kemper got screwed a little bit, but beyond that, they just haven't been in a position to win some of the major awards outside of coaching or GM. One thing that surprised me, I went through all the Selke ranks, and there isn't a Coyote that's ever finished top 10.
Wow.
In Selke. And the Coyotes haven't been an elite defensive team, but there are years where they were a very good defensive team, like under Dave Tippett. But as we know with the Selke Trophy, you still have to have points. You still have to put up a lot of points. Bothers me a little bit. I don't know. I'm not I get it. Creating offense is the best defense and things like that. But it really surprised me that they didn't even have somebody in the top 10 for Selke any of the years of their existence.
Craig, how much of this do you think is related to the Coyotes simply not having good teams over the last 26
all
years?
Of it. So, almost all of it.
But the almost part, would you say that OEL and Chychrun and Kemper falling lower than they should have has to do with the fact that this market just doesn't get the eyes that it would if it was, in the East Coast?
I wouldn't mind. I do think that's it. I wouldn't mind that fans might overlook whoever belongs in the discussion for the Coyotes, but it really bothers me when voters for these awards overlook guys that are deserving. That's just dereliction of duty. You got to do your homework. And I think a lot of voters take it very seriously, but I think there are a bunch of voters out there who don't do enough homework and come with poor arguments, or very just based on stats and nothing else, or success of teams and nothing else. They don't dive deeply enough to really get an understanding of who deserves these awards. And that bothers me, because that's your job. There aren't many perks from being a member of the Professional Hockey Writers Association. Voting is one of them. So people should take it seriously, as should the broadcasters who vote.
And as a voter yourself, you obviously cover the Coyotes full time, but there's still 31 other NHL teams. So just because you are a voter, how do you kind of stay up to date with all of these players and put together your ballot?
Well, I mean, I do keep track of the league during the season, and I'm aware of general trends. But when it comes time for the awards, that's when I really dive in. I'll go back and read stories. I'll get a sense of who, a lot of the analysts and experts are saying are the finalists. Then I'll dive into the numbers. I'll look for outliers that maybe people aren't thinking about. I dive into analytics. I dive into their stats. I read stories, circumstances, understanding the team situation, all of that. All of that comes into play. It's just, the bottom line is it's just a lot of work, and you have to put it in if you want to get a real sense of who deserves it.
Absolutely. Well, the NHL Awards are tomorrow night, 4:00 Arizona time on ESPN. So we'll see who takes home the big prizes. We've been kind of staying up to date on some of these, not to diminish them, but some of the smaller awards over the last few weeks. So we can look ahead, and I know we've done a few predictions, but now that it's really coming down to it, we can talk about who we really think is going to win these major awards. 4:00 Arizona time tomorrow sounds like a perfect time to enjoy a Four Peaks beer while watching the NHL Awards. Sometimes they do a really good job. Sometimes it's a little like, oh my God, please, like, make this be over. So, a little Four Peaks to add to the fun. Did you bring Four Peaks in your undisclosed location?
We're drinking WoW. We're drinking WoW up here. Yeah.
Look at, and by the way,
it's a nice summer drink.
Sorry, what'd you say?
It's a nice summer drink. It
really is.
Yeah.
It really is. I also think it's the best label of all of the Four Peaks beers, in my opinion. This is my first time back in the studio in 2 weeks. You can see we have some new decor. We got the kilt lifter. This thing actually turns on. We turn it off, but I'm just going to turn it on just to show everyone. Woo! And then this little thing will light up. It's kind of fun. So if you're watching PHNX Sports on YouTube, you can see our new decor in both of our studios. We're decked out in Four Peaks. So I've been loving Four Peaks. It's the perfect time of year for, especially because we're in the hundreds now. So enjoy a cold one. Plus 4th of July is coming up. So got to get that on deck. And as always, that's 21 over, and enjoy responsibly. And we hope that you'll also enjoy at the PHNX Coyotes draft party that will be taking place actually at Four Peaks Brewery in Tempe, July 7th at 4 p.m. The official PHNX Coyotes draft party. Petey and Sean will be on location. We'll have special guests. A bunch of the PHNX crew will be there. Craig and I will be in Montreal. I can't believe this is just over 2 weeks from this week. It's crazy to think about. So make sure you go and get your tickets today. You can find it under the events tab at gophnx.com. Tickets are $5. Lots more exciting stuff to come with the draft party. So we hope you'll join us. It's going to be a blast at Four Peaks. All right, Craig, let's look at the 5 awards that will be given out tomorrow night. And we've given our guesses again and again, so we won't spend too much time. But just final instincts, final thoughts on these awards. And let's start with the Hart Trophy, the most valuable player. We got Auston Matthews, Connor McDavid, and Igor Shesterkin. And keep in mind, everyone, these are just for the regular season, so people's playoff performances play no role in these votes or these decisions. I think we all said Auston Matthews when we did our podcast about this. I still feel strongly about it being Auston Matthews.
Yeah, based on the regular season. Yeah, I wonder how much Connor McDavid's playoff performance might have swayed voters, but it doesn't matter. We had to have our votes in before then. So I'm still thinking Auston Matthews wins this. Igor Shesterkin too. I mean, listen, any one of these 3 guys wins, they're all deserving.
You can't say this was rigged. but kind of just skipping ahead to the next one, the Vezina, for me, Shesterkin is a shoo-in for the Vezina. So and I don't know because I didn't vote, but if I was a voter thinking like, I maybe I would choose Shesterkin for Vezina and give the Hart to someone else. But I don't know. It's so hard to know because Shesterkin was the thing that made this Rangers team one of the pieces that made it what it was. So you have to kind of weigh what the award itself actually means. So do you think Shesterkin for Vezina also?
Hands down. Yeah. To me, this should be the most lopsided vote. He was by far, I mean, historically, one of the best goaltenders in history, statistically. So I don't think there should even be a contest that he wins this one. And yeah, I think you're right about the Hart Trophy. This one's tough for me. I'm a former goaltender too, and I hate all the arguments against goalies winning the MVP. They're on the ice more than anybody, first of all. Who has a greater impact on the game than a goaltender? Nobody. And to say, well, they have their own award, so they shouldn't win the MVP. Well, that's stupid because it's called the MVP.
Yeah, so do goal scorers.
It's not called the best forward. If we want to make things right, I've said this before, add another award. Have, the best offensive forward to them. They call it the Wayne Gretzky Award. And then we can truly give the Hart Trophy to the most valuable player, not confine it to forwards or even defensemen, but also consider goaltenders because they deserve it a lot of the time. They play a major role in team success. And I mean, I think there's a strong argument to be made that Igor Shesterkin was the most valuable player to his team. Where are the Rangers without him? I'm sorry. I know some Rangers fans aren't happy that I keep banging this drum, and they played well in this postseason. But if Shesterkin doesn't play like he did this season, next season, I think this team regresses because I still don't think that this team is as good as it performed in the postseason.
We can literally make a montage of every time Craig disparages the Rangers that he'll either prove everybody right or Rangers fans will turn it into a montage to attack him online for being
Biz and I should do a show together. Paul Bissonnette and I should do a show together.
Oh yeah, you both hate the Rangers so much. No, I'm just kidding. You don't hate the Rangers. Paul Bissonnette does, though.
Biz may hate the Rangers, yeah.
Yeah, he does. I think he just hates their fans. I know you don't hate their fans. You just think the team isn't as good. And also, I will say the one thing about the Conn Smythe Trophy, which is the playoff MVP, is that I feel like goalies do get that award quite often. So I think that one is pretty pure when it comes to who's really most valuable.
Won't be happening this year, but yeah.
Yeah, right. Interesting.
Right now, like Cale Makar's running away with that award, in my opinion. He's got to win.
Which is crazy, actually, moving to the Norris Trophy, that 2 of the 3 finalists are facing off in the Stanley Cup final, which is really, really fun to see. Of course, the nominees are Victor Hedman, Roman Josi, and Cale Makar. At this point, it's so hard to think, how is it not Cale Makar, having watched his playoff run? But you have to remember how good Roman Josi was in the regular season. This one is between those 2 for me. And again, much like however the MVP vote goes, I won't be upset how this one goes because I really think it could go either way. What do you think?
Well, yeah, I mean, and this is the argument I was making throughout the season, right, with Roman Josi. I mean, the guy had 96 points. He had 96 points. On
a worse team than Colorado.
And you want to talk about a guy who carried his team? I mean, Roman Josi is the biggest reason for the Nashville Predators' success. He was unreal this year. I'm sorry, 96 points is insane. That's insane. You just don't see that very many times in NHL history. So I think there's a really strong argument for Roman Josi. But, if Cale Makar wins it, so be it. He's showing it in this postseason. He's probably the best defenseman in the game right now.
Which is unbelievable to say, and we're watching history happen in front of our eyes, which is cool. The other one that's controversial, the Calder Trophy, Michael Bunting, Moritz Seider, and Trevor Zegras. Of course, Michael Bunting, former Arizona Coyote. He's 26, which has been much to people's displeasure, although, as Craig has argued again and again, the rules are the rules, and him being nominated and having the ability to win is within the rules. But who do you really think is going to take it home tomorrow?
I think it's going to be Moritz Seider. I think that was the general consensus around the league. I think the NHL itself would have loved that Trevor Zegras win it. They were certainly pushing him a lot at the All-Star game and in other areas, but I think the voters think Moritz Seider. And look, he plays defense, and he had the kind of production that he had. He was playing top pairing minutes. He was playing heavy minutes. That's really tough to do for a young defenseman in this league, and he still excelled. I think, to be honest, I don't think there's a good argument for anyone other than Moritz Seider to win the Calder Trophy.
All right. And last but not least, the Ted Lindsay Award. The nominees are Yossi, Matthews, and McDavid.
Explain that to people. What's the Ted Lindsay Award, Leah?
Isn't it the MVP as voted by the players?
Yeah. And this is telling, isn't it? Look at the three guys on this list. Guys on this list. Roman Yossi's on this list. That tells you what the players who competed against him on a nightly basis think of Roman Yossi's season.
Yeah, which if you compare that to the Hart nominees, Shesterkin isn't on the Ted Lindsay Award finalists. So that's, when you weigh who might win that award, maybe that takes him off the list there. It's so hard for this one to know because the players, it's not like journalists who can go online and kind of share their ballots or talk about who they personally think. You don't really know what the players are thinking. So I don't know, but I don't know. What do you think, Craig?
I don't know. I have no idea who's going to win this because I'm not a player. But I listen. Austin Matthews and Connor McDavid would not be bad choices, as we said for the Hart Trophy as well. But
I think you could say that before any season starts, and you probably have a good chance of them being finalists.
Right. It was just more telling to me that the players put Roman Josi on this list. And listen, sometimes player voting can be a little biased too. Sometimes it's reputation. We see this all the time with the NFL and the Pro Bowl voting. It's kind of a joke, actually, sometimes when you ask the players who they think should be in. A lot of times it is reputation. But Roman Josi, again, he had 96 points, and he carried a team that I thought was going to finish just above the Coyotes in the Western Conference to the playoffs. They made the playoffs.
Yeah.
Nashville made the playoffs. It was crazy. And he wasn't alone. They had a couple forwards who really stepped up their game this year, but to me, he was, and UC Saros obviously had a great year as well, but Roman Josi had the best season of any Nashville Predator.
Yep. So I don't know. I'll just say, to make a prediction and see if I'm right, I'm going to just go with Matthews because I think he had an unbelievable year. I have no clue. And again, whatever happens. But those are the NHL awards that will be awarded tomorrow night, 4:00 our time on ESPN. Always interesting to see. Once again, no Arizona Coyotes in the nominees on the ice or even off. But maybe it'll be one of those things that in a few years, hopefully, because we've been talking about the rebuild progression of this team and where we think they might be, maybe we'll get some Rook Calder nominees on there in the future to start with, and then some coach of the year, and maybe Bill Armstrong will take home GM of the year. I don't know. There's a lot of hope. We're laying a lot of foundations for hope, but the Coyotes have to execute on a lot of things, and we say that all the time, but there is some hope that maybe in the next few years the Coyotes will be kind of back in the conversation, at least just outside, maybe starting just outside the top 3 voting, and then having some nominees, and then even having some winners again.
Well, in a few more games, however long this Cup final goes, everyone's attention can turn to the key moment for the Coyotes, the NHL draft. We're finally going to get to the draft. As you mentioned, you and I, along with Jacob Franklin, will be in Montreal to chronicle all of those picks and all the stories around them. This to me is this is the seed. This is the first big seed that you plant. This is where the foundation is laid for the Coyotes. And there clearly have been other things that have happened in the past. Bringing Bill Armstrong in was one of those keys to laying the foundation. But when you're talking about the on-ice product, this is where it has to start with this draft. They have 7 picks in the first 45. Everybody knows that number by now. At least that's what they have now. Unless Bill, who knows if Bill will do something.
Who knows what will happen.
Draft. But it has to happen here. They have to execute. To me, when you're talking about 7 picks in the top 45, you need to find an impact player. And number 3, you need to find 2 other good players. You got to hit on 3 of 7 to me. That everybody's going to fail sometimes at the NHL draft. And the truth is that all scouting staffs fail more often than they succeed.
It's like sports betting sometimes.
Yeah, well, it shows you how difficult it's
gambling. It's gambling on the future.
Project a 17 and 18-year-old kid who has emotional, physical, and mental development ahead of them. You don't know fully their family situation, their life situation. You don't know their heart, their drive. There's so many variables that you can't accurately measure. So there's a whole lot of projection. But they brought in this staff. They brought in Bill Armstrong. They brought in Darryl Plandowski, Ryan Jankowski, a number of their veteran guys like Larry Plow and Randy Hanch, a bunch of these guys so that they can make sure that they maximize their potential for success. And now Bill's given them the picks. So it is time for the scouting staff to deliver. I have been writing about the scouting staff a lot. I have a couple more stories in the series, one coming this week on the U.S. amateur staff, and I'll finish it up with the Canadian amateur staff before I have a draft preview. But this is their time to shine, and they better shine, Leah. They better shine, because if they don't, oh boy, what's the alternative? More of what we've seen for the past quarter century.
Yeah, please no. As Javier Gutierrez put it, next month is our Stanley Cup. So, it really is. It's the moment. And you said, like you said, you'll have a ton of stuff on the website to prepare everyone about the scouting staff, about the draft itself on gophnx.com. We've also been posting exclusive interviews on there as well with Coyotes first round draft picks. So far, there's a Danny Briere interview that's free for everyone, but behind the paywall, we have a Marty Hansel interview, a Connor Murphy interview. We got Mikkel Bodker coming later in the week, and still a lot of interviews on deck. All of those are for members only. So become a member today. We'll also have prospect breakdown videos. That more of those are dropping tomorrow. So just tons and tons of draft content dropping multiple times a week on the website in video and written form. So make sure you become a member at gophnx.com so you can get in on that, join the members only Discord, get a shirt from the locker when you sign up. It's a great time to become a member, especially if you're a Coyotes fan.
4 more guys that I can say are all confirmed now that we're going to have behind the paywall as well. Former first round draft picks. Dylan Gunther's one of those that we're going to talk to. And then 3 current Coyotes, Clayton Keller, Victor Soderstrom, and Barrett Hayton. We'll have all of those guys. So you'll be able to view all of those videos as well behind the paywall. So as Leah said, become a member, because that's the only way you're going to be able to watch those interviews or read most of my stories.
Exactly. So we love the members of our family. The members only Discord is a blast as well. So there's just so many perks to becoming a member. And this is the most important time of the Coyotes whole season is coming up in 2 weeks. So we can't wait. And like Craig said, we'll be on the ground in Montreal, and we absolutely can't wait. And some other things we can't wait for. We have a lot of awesome guests coming up over the next week and a half. So starting on Wednesday, our next live show, Josh Doan and Matthew Nyes will be joining our show live at 12:30, so a little bit of a different time, 12:30 on Wednesday. If Josh Doan, obviously all-city athlete, but Matthew Nyes is a Toronto Maple Leafs prospect who's from Arizona. So once again, the Leafs love their Arizona born players, but both Josh and Matthew grew up playing hockey in Arizona and have a hockey camp that they're putting on for young players in Arizona. So we want to talk to them about that and just everything else they're up to. Super excited about that one. And then on Friday, returning to the program, Radim Verbata will be calling in our expert pronunciation guide, our expert Czech guide, and of course, former Arizona Coyote who many, many people loved when he
sports
was
director for the team for which Milos Kelemen, one of the newest Coyotes, played. So Verby will offer his thoughts on him. We may ask him about the state of Czech hockey. We may ask him about the fact that he played for both Cup finalists as well as the Coyotes. And then we may have a game plan with Verby.
Yep.
Having to do with pronunciation. So
yes, super, super excited to have him back. And then the following week, Bob McKenzie, as I call it, the Bob Father, will be on our show next Wednesday live at 11 a.m. So can't wait for that too. Our final draft expert before the draft. I mean, Bob McKenzie is Canadian hockey media royalty and has been covering the draft for years and years and years and is extremely dialed in. So really excited to talk to him next Wednesday, get some insight. Tons of great guests ahead. You want to be sure to be subscribed to PHNX Sports on YouTube. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a show. So much amazing stuff coming up on PHNX Sports. Anything you want to say about any of our guests, or did I cover it okay?
I think we covered it all.
I know. There's just so many. I can't even. And be sure also to like and subscribe and leave us a review wherever you get your podcasts. Every live show is also an audio episode, and we have 2 audio-only episodes a week, so you don't want to miss that. We'll be back with another Trade Talk Tuesday audio episode tomorrow. Did we decide who we're doing, Craig? Oh yeah, we did.
Yes, we did.
Will you tell everyone?
Sure, it's Keith Kachuk.
Yeah.
More pain for the Coyotes fans.
Yeah,
here we go.
Yeah, this episode was very much like, oh, and here's another category the Coyotes have not succeeded in, and then tomorrow we'll say, and here's a trade that maybe didn't go so well, but hopefully this is the bad luck stops here, Craig, and the draft is the beginning of turning around the good juju. I hope. Also be sure to follow us on Twitter at PHNX_Coyotes as well. Craig, any final notes from it looks like a beautiful backdrop there. You got the trees behind you. Did you do anything for Father's Day yesterday?
We laid low for the most part. We just enjoyed the cabin in the mountains. We had a good meal. We did have a good meal, but I'm just trying to chill. As some of our readers know, I wrote a mailbag this morning. We have to say goodbye to our 17-year-old dog next Monday. So this week up here is kind of his final hurrah. So we're trying to circle the wagons and be with our pup for the final week of his life. So don't mean to leave on a downer like that, but he's been a great dog. He's had a great run. I can't believe he's 17 years old, but yeah, it's time.
Wow. So. Yeah. Well, what a great last week for him up in the mountains in some nice weather with all the ones he loves. So I'm glad you get that time with him, Craig. And even though Craig's on vacation, he'll be on all of our shows, and hopefully we'll get Petey to make some more appearances throughout the week. Everybody, thank you so much for watching and tuning in today. We'll see you live on Wednesday at 12:30 and not 11, 12:30 on the PHNX Sports YouTube channel. Until then, have a great rest of your day, everyone.